I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus.
I'm Spartacus!
I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus.
I'm Dan! Hello. It's just for fun. Okay, well, how are you? Are you okay? So, I hope it's not too difficult this week at home. So, it's the second lesson online. I hope you liked the last lesson. Now, just to start today, do you remember some of the vocabulary from last week? So, do you remember, how do you say sembler, avoir l'air? What is the verb? Yeah, it's to seem. To seem. Last week I said the week before seemed a long time ago. Okay, how do you say la mairie? La mairie. It's the town hall. The town hall. L'hôtel de ville. It's the town hall. Or city hall. City hall if it is a big city. Okay, how do you say l'autoroute? L'autoroute. Yeah, it's the motorway in England, or in America, the freeway. The freeway. Okay, and how do you say, from the man with the motorbike, how do you say c'est pas grand chose? Yeah. Well, the familiar expression was it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's not important. Okay, very good. Now, the homework last week, the homework was to read and to listen if you wanted the audio. It was to read the story, The Lady or the Tiger. Yeah. So I hope you liked the story. I like the story. It's not bad. It's quite fun. Okay, now I have some questions for you. So, speaking is difficult when the course is online. So as before, like before, when I ask a question, try to answer out loud. Okay? So here are my questions for the story The Lady or the Tiger. Okay? So how can you describe the king in the story? Yeah, he was selfish, haughty, yeah, little inclined to kindness. Yeah. You could say he was a tyrant, a despot. Okay. Now, what happened if you opposed the king? What happened if you challenged the king? So you wouldn't live very long. You would be taken and thrown in the arena. Okay. Was he a fair king? Was he a just king? Not at all. Not at all. So fair, remember the senses of fair. We have fair for just. We have fair for the colour of your hair or your skin. And we have fair, an older sense an old sense for fair is fair, like handsome or beautiful. So I can say Bordeaux is a fair city, or remember the musical My Fair Lady, like my beautiful lady. Okay, but this is an old sense. Now, how did the king decide if you were innocent or guilty? Yeah, so we had the system in the arena, the trial in the arena. So again, trial, or sometimes a court case, is when we go to court or when we face a judge. This is a trial. But in this case, the trial is the arena. There is a second sense for trial. So you have a trial of a new drug or the trial of a new product. But here, the trial is for justice. So what was the system? So you had two doors, and the accused person, the accused man, opened a door by chance, and from one door there was a tiger, a vicious tiger, and you were eaten, you got eaten. Or the other door was a fair maiden, a young girl. Okay, so what happened if you had the door? What happened if you chose the door with the maiden? Yeah, you were married. You got married immediately. It doesn't matter if you have a family. We don't know what happens to your family. Maybe you have two wives. Maybe there is a divorce. We don't know. We don't know. Okay. Now, how does the writer describe the king's daughter? Yeah, so like the king, she's selfish, haughty, little inclined to kindness. Exactly, they are the same, in fact. Now, what did the king do to the princess's lover? Yeah, so he was arrested, he got arrested, and he was put on trial. He was thrown in jail, in prison, to stand trial in the arena. Okay. Now, in your opinion, why do you think the king chose the most beautiful maiden in the kingdom for the trial? Yeah, so maybe it is to make the daughter jealous. Maybe. You maybe have a different idea. Now, did the audience in the arena, the people, the audience, the spectators, the audience, did the audience like the lover when he entered the arena? Yes, they did. He was a fair man. He was brave. He was handsome. Probably, they cheered. Yeah, they cheered. They clapped. Okay, where was the princess at the trial? Yeah, she was next to her father. She was next to her father. Okay, how did the princess feel? How did she feel about the maiden that the king had chosen for her lover? Yeah, she was jealous. She thought they had been exchanging glances with each other. Now, what secret did the princess know? Yeah, she knew the secret of the doors in the arena. Now, how did she make a signal for her lover? What was the signal? Yeah, she made a signal with her hand. So something like this, very subtle signal. Okay, now the big question is, in your opinion, what came out of the door? Yeah, well, the majority of people, when I ask the question, the majority of people think it is the tiger, because the princess is like her father. She's haughty, she's selfish, she is not at all kind. So most people think the tiger, but some people think the maiden. Some people think the maiden, and later the princess will get rid of the maiden and marry the lover again to have more time. But there is no correct answer. Okay, well, I hope you liked the story on the website. Now, the second homework was in the workbook. You had the workbook. It was page 51. 51. It was listening and pronunciation exercise in the workbook. Okay, so find your workbook. So remember, the audio for the exercise is available on this space, the pre-intermediate space of the website. And remember to correct your answers from the back of the book. Okay. Now, just one or two words of vocabulary from the homework. So the interviewer. So we had Ethel, from Ethel and Norman, the lady here. The interviewer asked Ethel, "Do you ever argue? Do you ever argue? Do you sometimes argue? Do you have an argument?" Yeah, so what is an argument? What is the verb to argue? Yeah, disputer, avoir une dispute. This is to have an argument, to argue. You can say a dispute. Yeah, it does exist, a dispute. We disputed. But more naturally, normally, we say an argument and the verb to argue. We argued. Okay. Now, Ethel said, remember Ethel here, she said, "We bought a semi-detached house. We bought a semi-detached house. What is it, do you think? A semi-detached house. Yeah, you can see a semi-detached house is two houses connected. There's a block of just two houses is a semi-detached house. So a semi-detached, so you have one neighbour attached to your house. A block of two houses, two semi-detached houses together. So if it's one house, ta-da, one independent house, there is a space before the house touches the neighbour's house. This is a detached house, a detached house. Okay, and here you can see all the houses in a long line. All the houses are attached. So this is a terraced house, or sometimes a townhouse, normally a terraced house. So a terraced house is not a house with a terrace in the garden. So a terraced house is all the houses are connected. So you can say my house is terraced, or in the garden, my house has a nice terrace, maybe. Okay, but terraced is connected. Semi-detached, a block of two, and detached, independent house. Remember you have the floors of the house, the floors. So I have, a two-floor house. Sometimes we say a two-story house, a floor and a story. It's the same. Okay, and if you have a house with one floor, one story, you can say it is a single-story house. It's a single-story house. Okay. So, the lottery. Now, imagine I played the lottery and I have won the lottery. Ah, yes. It's a dream. Now, I want to change my house. Now, where can I live that is bigger than a small flat, a small apartment? So the smallest house is, it's a flat, a little flat, a studio flat. Okay. Then we have a house, of course, maybe semi-detached. Then I have bigger, a detached house, a big detached house. Then bigger, a very, very big house. You can have a mansion. A mansion. Yeah, so it's a very, very big, very impressive house, is a mansion house. And then, of course, you have a castle. A castle. Now, remember, a castle in English, a castle is normally for fighting, for defense, a castle. Yeah. With ramparts, etc. This is normally a castle. Or a palace. A palace, Versailles is a palace. Okay. We also have a stately home. A stately home, or a manor house, or a stately home. Now, a stately home is it's a mansion, so a very, very big, very impressive house, a mansion, but an enormous mansion. It is a mansion that is capable of receiving the royal family. In the past, the royal family with all of the people, all the entourage of people with the king or the queen. So a stately home is a really enormous mansion, like a palace, a stately home. Now, do you know any big mansions, any stately homes in the UK, the United Kingdom? Maybe you visited some, maybe you don't know. We have Longleat, is a famous stately home in Wiltshire. We have a place called Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire. This was the home for Winston Churchill, I think. We have Chatsworth in Derbyshire. Chatsworth. And because we are talking about houses today, we also have on page 58 in the book. Well, in fact, here we do. This is the one. We have this house. This is Chatsworth House. And Chatsworth House is a stately home, you can see. So turn to page 58 in the student's book. And here we have Living History, Chatsworth House. Okay, so let's read the introduction together. And you can read with me to practice speaking out loud. So, the introduction, page 58, is Chatsworth House has been home to the same family since 1549. In that time, the house has welcomed kings and queens, prime ministers and politicians, and more recently, bands, groups, music groups, bands, and film crews. Okay, very good. Now, you can see your friend, the present perfect. So Chatsworth House has been home to the same family since 1549. And we use the present perfect because it continues to be home to the same family. So it starts in the past, it continues to now, and it continues. So it has been, it's the long connection, starts in the past, just until now. Yeah, and it continues. Okay. So, where do you think the money comes from to run the house? Because I imagine it's an expensive house to run, to operate. So where do you imagine the money comes from? Yeah, maybe the family is rich, maybe investments, maybe rent of properties, maybe visitors, but we will see. Now, look at, don't read the text yet, wait to read the text, but look at exercise number 2. Now, I am sure you have some questions about the house. Now, before you read the text, stop the video and try to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 questions using the words here. So what questions do you want to know about this house? Okay, so stop the video, answer the questions, and then let's see if I have the same questions as you. Okay, so stop the video now. Okay, did you write 7 simple questions for the house? So question number 1. So my question was where, so simply where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Or how old? My question was how old is it? How old is the house? Okay. Or my third question was who is the owner? Who is the owner? You can have different questions. This was just the question that came to mind. But my question was, who is the owner? Or when? So I imagined, when was it built? When was it built? Constructed. When was it built? So how many? So I imagined, how many rooms are there? Okay. Well, how much? But I imagined, how much does it cost to run, to operate, to run every year? Yeah. But you can have different questions. And my final question, which, I thought, which kings and queens, which kings visited the house? Now remember, which and what, the difference. So which is a limited choice. There's a group and you choose one thing in a group. So the kings, the number of kings is limited. So which kings visited? You can replace which with what. But what is an open, a general question, and which is more limited. So which kings visited the house? Okay, so now stop the video again. Okay, and now read the rest of the text. Okay, and see which questions were answered. What are the answers for my questions? And what are the answers for your questions if they are different? Okay, so stop the video and read the text now. Okay. Okay. Did you read the text? Yeah. No problems? It's okay. So the answers to my questions were, so where is it? It is in Derbyshire. You can see Derbyshire. Okay. How old is it? It's about 500 years old. About 500 years old. Who is the owner? The 12th Duke of Devonshire is the owner. When was it built? In 1549, we know. How many rooms are there? Oh, there's only 300 rooms. It's not enough. How much does it cost to run every year? Just £5 million. And which kings visited the house? So it was Edward VII and George V and Queen Mary. So one or two of my friends. Okay. Now I'm going to read the article again. out loud, and you can read the article with me to check your pronunciation. Okay? So we start here, this part. Okay? So the 12th Duke of Devonshire, Peregrine Cavendish, and his wife Amanda have lived at Chatsworth since 2006. The Duke inherited the house on the death of his father in 2004. He says, "My family has lived here for over 450 years. The estate has been passed down the Cavendish family for 15 generations, and I now have the pleasure and responsibility to look after it for the next generation." Visitors often see him walking through the house and garden when it is open to the public. He says Chatsworth is a magical place, and I feel lucky to be able to share it with all of our visitors. So, the next part. The most beautiful house in England. Chatsworth is situated in the hills of Derbyshire, in the Midlands. Many people say it is the most beautiful house in England. It has nearly 300 rooms, with 17 staircases and 26 baths, and is set in 35,000 acres of land. It needs 500 staff to run. The art collection includes paintings by Raphael, Van Dyck, and Rembrandt. The whole estate is worth about £500 million. It costs approximately £5 million a year to run Chatsworth, so the house has been open to the paying public since 1949, and in 2010, there were around 600,000 visitors. There are often art exhibitions, flower shows, horse trials, and sometimes concerts in the grounds. The house also earns money from the film industry. It is a favourite location for period films. Chatsworth was used as Mr. Darcy's house in the 2005 film of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, and Keira Knightley also starred in The Duchess here in 2008. Next part, a house fit for a king. So most English country houses were built during the 17th and 18th centuries by the aristocracy. The Duke likes to explain the historical background to Chatsworth. Visitors arrive, see this huge building in this vast parkland, and wonder why it is so big. The reason is that my ancestors built a house fit for a king. It was designed to impress and to persuade royalty to visit. In 1686, the first Duke built a magnificent suite for a royal visit from King William and Queen Mary. Unfortunately, they didn't come. However, much later, Edward VII was a frequent visitor between 1901 and 1910. George V and Queen Mary visited in 1913. Many of the Cavendish family were politicians. One, William Cavendish, was Prime Minister from 1756 to 1757. Today, families like the Cavendishes no longer have the same political influence, but their estates are still huge. Okay, so you can watch the video again if you want and repeat the text with me. It's good to repeat out loud. Or just some words of vocabulary. Maybe you know the words, maybe not. So we have 17 staircases. What a staircase, c'est le cage d'escalier. Okay. 35,000 acres, so about 15 hectares of land. Okay. And remember, well, the staff are the personnel, the employees, the staff. The people who work are the staff. And remember, to run a house is to operate a house. I run a business, I operate a business, to run. Okay, we have also, so horse trials, let's say in spectacle du jumping, for example, this is a horse trial. And again, we see the word trial in the sense essay, a horse trial. So in jumping, we have, so Keira Knightley, she starred in the film The Duchess. Well, elle jouait dans le film. She starred in the film. She is the star. When we say the house is fit for a king, c'est une maison qui convient, qui est prêt pour le roi. Yeah, it's fit for a king. It's ready for the king. It's appropriate for the king's standards. It's fit for the king. Okay, and remember, people wonder why it is so big. So they wonder. Do you remember the verb to wonder? Se demander. Je me demande quelque chose. I wonder something. Okay. So, unfortunately, the first king didn't come, so a little problem. Okay. Okay. Now, we are not going to do exercise number 4 because it is the same information. But remember, you can watch the video again and read the dialogue with me. It's a good idea. But I want to do the language work here. Okay? Now, remember, we have the preterite, the past, and we have the present perfect, the connection with the past and now. So remember, the family has lived at the house since the 16th century because the family continues to live there. But the king didn't visit, because this is a long time in the past. So now I can say the Queen hasn't visited for a long time, hasn't visited this house, because the Queen is alive. But in the past, the King didn't visit. Okay, now look at the language work section. Okay, so again, can you see, is it the past or the present perfect? Okay, so underline, souligner, underline the best answer. So number one, what do you think? So number one, the 12th Duke of Devonshire, has lived in Chatsworth since 2006, because he continues to live in the house. Okay. What do you think for number two? Yeah, his father died in 2004. To die, it's a regular verb. Die, died, died. Okay. So his father died in 2004. Now remember, any past time marker, 2004, last week, ago, etc. Any past time marker, we use the preterite, not the present perfect. So 2004 is the past, so we use the preterite. His father died in 2004. Well, number three, the Cavendish family has owned. Ils sont le propriétaire. They have owned. So the Cavendish family has owned the house for over 450 years. Okay, because the family still owns. They own the house now, they still own the house. Okay, they are the owners. They own the house. Now in number four, in 2010, around 600,000 people visited the house. Okay, for 2010, it's a past time marker, so we use the past. So they visited. Well, number five, so we have the date 1686. It's a past date, so the preterite. So William and Mary didn't visit in 1686. And finally, number six, William Cavendish. In the past, William Cavendish was Prime Minister for a year. Okay. Well, I hope you liked reading about Chatsworth House. Now, but I didn't forget, we have homework for today, for today's lesson. So, in the student book today, can you complete page 52? Page 52. So again, you have some work on pronunciation and the stress, l'accent tonique, the stress on the syllables. So here you have some words. So history. You must find the word for the person and the adjective. So you can use a dictionary, and remember, you have the answer at the back of the book. So history, the person is the historian, the adjective is historical. But try to find the tonic accent, the stress for each word. Yeah. So history, but the person is the historian, The adjective, historical. Okay. So then politics, art, etc. Okay. Number 2. Okay. So use the words from here to complete the sentences here. Okay. And again, the same exercise. Number 3. So can you transform the noun and the adjective? So famous, the adjective. The noun is célébrité, is fame. Yeah. Or ambition, he is very ambitious. Okay, so complete the chart. And then just for fun, while you are inside, try to find the answers for the crossword. And again, it's people and people's jobs. Okay. The answers are at the back of the book. Okay. And I hope I can see you soon. But if not, I will put a new video online next week. Okay, so take care. Don't go crazy inside. Okay. See you soon. Bye bye.